G'day, g'day, and welcome to Graves in Australia Diecast Salvage. No, we don't have a turntable today. We've got cast like this, and these are a dinky EJ Holden sedan made in England, and I believe it's a 196, I believe, but I stand to be corrected. There's a base for those that want to know the details of the bottom. Now, quite often, for the real cheap ones, you'll get them in sort of this condition. They're missing the boot lid, missing the bonnet, of course missing the wheels. Sometimes the windows are smashed or anything like that. If you get them in sort of this condition, where it has the wheels, it has the bonnet, and it has the boot lid, yeah, so they go for big money. And if it's this colour, they even go for bigger money. But I'm a cheap Charlie. I like buying them cheap, and I've just been lucky enough to get them cheap. But today is not a restoration on these vehicles. Today's episode is about making parts and the difference between what you might get from the reproduction houses like Steve Flowers, Recover Toy, just to name a couple, and how you can make your own. So let me get set up and we shall carry on. Today we're going to be making the bonnet for the dinky Holden car. This one here is a reproduction. I'm not 100% sure as to whether it came from Steve Flowers or Recover Toy, but I'm assuming Steve Flowers. It came with another wreck like that, which I had passed on to Pete from PB Retro Restorations. So that's why you haven't got a bonnet on your car, Pete, because I didn't think this bonnet was worthy to go with that car. As you can see, it has a lot of pits in it, a lot of holes. To file this part here flat, I think will break. It's missing a chunk here out of the edge of the bonnet. So that's why, Pete, this bonnet didn't go with that vehicle that you received from me. Now, here is the original bonnet that came from this vehicle here. As you can see, nice and smooth, because it's an original. Now, this is the problem that you face with reproductions. A lot of times you have to do a lot of extra work trying to make them fit. Now, it's very much appreciated that the likes of Steve Flowers, Recover Toy, which I believe are Steve Flowers resellers in Australia, but when you're paying a fair amount of money and postage, you want a little bit of a better product, because we're looking for plug and play, so to speak. That, all you need to do is maybe rub it back a little bit, paint it, put it on your model, not spend 2 or 3 hours trying to file, sand, fit, file, sand, fit, and all of that, and it still doesn't fit properly, or, as has happened a couple of times in my experience, that the part breaks again. These are all white metal. very soft compared to an original. So these days I've gone back to what I originally did, was see if I can get an original vehicle just for that part. And then with that original vehicle, or the donor vehicle, which is this one for these two, I make the parts so that all the vehicles in that range get a new lease of life. So they're not going back into, oh, you know, this one has the boot lid or something like that, and then it goes into the cabinet for a parts vehicle again. So once these vehicles have gotten all their parts, they all get to go back onto the shelf again. Anyway, I'm rambling on. We'll do what Pete says. Let's get crack-a-lacking. So the things you'll need to make your own part, if you want to give it a try, unless you want to purchase, is you're going to need something to make a mould box. Now, it can be a matchbox. You can make your own box out of masking tape, but even something like that. This used to be a plastic container that held sewing needles in. That's fine, as long as it is bigger than the part that you're wanting to copy. The most important part that you're going to need is the part that you want to make a copy of. That's the most important part. If you can get one of those, that's excellent. The other thing that you need is something to make a mould with. Now, there are various things. You can use hot glue, you can use the blue stuff or polymorph plastic, you can use Play-Doh, you could use plasticine, you can use a variety of things. Today we're going to be using silicone putty. It cures a lot faster than the liquid silicone, which can take, depending on how much hardener you put in, can take sort of a couple of hours to set, or even overnight. Where the silicone putty, we should be able to work with within half an hour. Now, what I'm making is what's called a two-part mould. So there's two parts to the mould itself. I'm just making equal parts of the silicone putty, because it comes in two parts. It's a part A, part B. So here it is here, and all you're doing with that is you're mixing it together until it's a uniform colour. So it shouldn't take long to do, because so I've used this quite a number of times. I have my own little methods, and there we go. We are pretty much all one colour. Now all we're doing now is we're going to put that in our mould box. We have a bit of time to work with it, not much, a little bit of time. Just going to add a little bit more towards the centre, and to help make it go flat, I'm just using some Lego to press it flat, so we've got a nice flat surface to work with. And then I'm just going to put a little bit underneath the underneath the item that we're going to make a copy of. Just bear with me, ladies and gents. Because this is something that I prefer to do just a little bit off camera, so that so here is our part that we're going to put in the on the top here. Just going to make sure that that's sort of sitting flat. As you can see, we're going to be like that. Now we can make this a bit of a keyway in that in one corner and in the other corner over here. Doesn't matter what you do, you can do a few other things. Now all I'm going to do is just cut away this axis, just push it down. Same thing there. This is just to give the whole thing a bit of important part that we need to make sure of, that we've got a bit of clearance, is on the front nose. Like I said, this is a two-part mould. So let's get that out the way. Because the second part of the mould, we want to go in there a little bit. Let's make sure there's a nice definition. Because we've got to have our resin sit in there, of course. All right, we've mixed up our mould. So now we're going to put our item in that we want to make a copy of. And I'm going to use this to squeeze it into the silicone putty. Just like so. So now we need to wait for that to go off. When that is ready to go off, we shall put in a mould release. I generally use petroleum jelly. You can get Vaseline if you like. You could use spray on cooking oil. You could use hairspray, I believe, but my preference is to use the petroleum jelly or Vaseline. That has worked best for me. So it'll be an experimentation for you to do. So we'll bring you back when we do the top half, which is exactly the same as what we're doing here. The only difference is that it encapsulates the casting that we're going to do. All right, we'll catch you in a moment. We're back for the second part of this. Now, I had forgotten to put in a keyway in on this, so all I've done is just cut a corner out, and that will suffice for our keyway. Now all I'm doing now is just brushing on some petroleum jelly, if you like. Now I'm not going to go so much in the corner here because I want that to hold, so that we have a corner piece for it to come out of, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, too bad, so sad. So we're mainly concentrating on putting the release on the rest of the area. That's enough, it doesn't need much. Now I'm just going to wipe my hands, and if I didn't show it beforehand, the putty is in 2 parts, and all we're going to do is mix it together. Now I'm just going to go quickly off screen because it's much easier for me to do it off screen than in front of the camera. And what we're trying to get is a even colour, and it should go to sort of a yellowish colour or a cream colour once she's thoroughly mixed. It's just I've got big elbows, that's why I'm doing a bit behind the camera. There we go. And because we put the release agent in, all we're doing is pressing down on it. Doesn't have to be that neat, but it will become neat in a moment. Now I can go this 2 ways. I can go that way just to press it down. I could use the original lid to press it down, and as you can see there, it held onto the lid, which I didn't want it to do. The release agent works, so we'll do that. We can use our our Lego as well, so that when it comes time to putting our resin in, we have a nice flat surface. There is the silicone held onto the piece of paper here, so that's why it happened there. So that's good enough for me. So we'll now bring you back when that second half has set. See you in a moment. Now I must have been a little bit deaf because some of you were probably shouting out, I'm making a copy of the repo part that's got all the crappiness on it, all the pit holes. Bad piece up here. He's almost. Anyway, we'll bring you back once this is cured, and we can get on to see how well we did with a resin. Catch it in. Okay, this is now done its business. It's taken about a bit over half an hour. So let's see how we went. So as you can see, the petroleum jelly has done its job. And pull out the whole mould. We can now take the original part out, and that is our mould for our bumper. So the next step is making a resin. But before we do the resin, what I try and do is heat up a hot glue stick and do a casting that way. So I'll bring you back when that's ready. So I think I'm at the casting stage, and we have a two-part casting resin, an A and B, and that is by volume or by weight. We're doing it by volume. You don't need to degas it. There are plenty of videos out there that say you should degas it, but you don't have to. I don't have a degassing chamber, so that's why I'm not doing it. Now, I'll just get my A and B bottles ready. I've decanted from the large bottle into these smaller ones, so I should be able to get a more accurate flow. So I'm going to take the lid of A, and in there we're going to put our A specimen. So open up the lid. Equal parts we're going to do. That is more than enough to what we're going to do. Just give our top a wipe down. We'll put that back in its container. Now, to be on the safe side, we shall put the lid on, because eventually we'll mix them both into this cup here. I'm just showing you the preparation for the resin casting. So we put that one there. I've already given these resin A and B a bit of a shape because they have been sitting for a while, and I'm hoping that I haven't gone past the use by date on them. Otherwise this video is a waste. So all we're going to do is just about the same. If I close the lid, we'll see better. Put that one in there, that one in there, and we put the lid on this one, and they're about the same. That's good. That's what we need, just to verify. Just about the same, depends on how you're holding it. All right, so next thing we need to get ready is our mixing jar and our mixer. So it doesn't matter which goes in first. We just got that one in, just making sure we're getting the last drops in. Close that one. Now you've got about 5-minute working time, depending on the volume that you've got. With this amount that we've got, we don't have that long. It's only a short time. This is a thermal reaction. There's heat involved with the two chemicals mixing together. That should be enough. Now what I need to do is, because this is the boot lid on this side, need to get it into the crevice a little bit. Maybe I should get the because otherwise there's a big seam. Now always have handy some extra moulds, because that way you won't waste so much. Now I usually do the Matchbox Ford pickup. As a see, this is already going off already now, so I'll need to stop yabbering and get a closing. So we put that one on top there. This one we can put on top here. Like I said, it was a very, very quick reaction. As you can see, that's already turned. So we didn't have that much time. So we may have to do that one again. But we may have just caught it in time. On there. Because it's still doing its thermal reaction. As you can see, it's starting to gel up. What you're seeing on this cup here is what's happening inside there. So I'll bring you back for the reveal. If I've made another batch and done this one again, I shall let you know. And we're back. Now I did have to make a second lot. The first button didn't come out too bad, but because it was already going off before we put it in, it just didn't come quite right. So I made a fresh batch. So I haven't even taken it all out of the moulds yet. Taking it easy. This is all the flashing. That comes with it. That's this the rear boot. And we just have some minor air bubbles here, but otherwise at the moment I'm happy with that until we clean it up. Now let's have a look at our main bonnet. Again, flashing, which is good. It's what we want, really. But as you can see, when pulling the casting out, we can pull it away. And there's still a little bit of work to do on it, but not as much as the original. Well, I shouldn't say the original, as the reproduction one. Again, this is the casting from the original, and this is the reproduction with all the holes. I'll just clean this up a little bit. As we can see, here we've got a little bit too much flashing, but otherwise we're going to be good. So I'll bring you back and I'll show you the cut. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, our reproduction bonnet. See how it closes nicely on the front here. The same thing up near the cowling. There's our boot. It's only flopping down because we don't have enough pressure on the back window. There we go. I will sand this a little bit more, but here is the comparison between what I've just made and what the reproduction one was like. And as you can see, the reproduction one is already missing up the top here. Just let loose on the bottom. I'm holding it tight again. As you can see, not holding down the front properly. Up near the cowling, it's way too low. It's not fitting very well. So, because it needs some work in the hinge area. Here is the original. As we get it underneath the glass, and again closes up nicely all the way up to the cowling. And we'll put the one that we've just made back in again. Come on, go underneath the glass. Yeah, see the base has moved slightly, which has moved the window. There we go, the bonnet goes in there. The base hooks in the back, close up the front, and there you go. So I'm happy with that. Now I've got to make one, two, another two, and my repertoire would be finished. I'm making one of these for Pete from PB Retro Restorations. I might even send you this one, Pete, and hope to see you soon. From Graves in Australia, by Diecast Salvage. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.